Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, I didn't know that yesterday's episode would have gotten such a huge response, and many individuals have also emailed Acupuncture is My Life with certain questions with regard to foods that you eat that I haven't discussed. Could that cause gassiness as well? So it was pretty interesting. I mean, you guys flooded the Acupuncture My Life app message section with questions and concerns, and unaware as to foods other than dairy can actually cause a person to become gassy. And most have appreciated the last podcast, so I decided to do a few more foods. I decided to discuss a few more foods that can cause gassiness, leave individuals in awkward situations. And it's understood. You know, sometimes you're in meetings on airplanes or in closed quarters or somewhere where, you know, as a result of eating certain foods that you're unaware that's triggering this gassy sensation, causes you to release gas. Okay? And by the way, if you don't already have the Acupuncture is My Life app, download it. It's free at your app store. So many benefits in having this app. So many benefits. Now, another that some individuals are unaware that can contribute to gas buildup is beer, as well as other yeast products. You know, and I know, and it's not just a guy drink. All right, I'll say that right now. You have plenty of women who love beer as well. But, you know, some individuals, they love having a beer end of the day or before and during watching their favorite sport. But guess what? You may want to consider finding another drink. All right? And I'll say, and I know many sports venues sell water. Hey, what's wrong with water? And I know many of you, especially you guys out there, like looking like, yeah, okay, sure, right. But understand something. Beer usually releases carbon dioxide gases that build up in your gut. And it releases it in this form of this terrible smelling fart. Let's just put it that way. And even outside of patients, I've explained to individuals, barbecues I've gone to, sporting events I've gone to, and so forth, that beer and the release of carbon dioxide gas in their gut is what puts them in an awkward situation sometimes. Now, believe it or not, most gave it thought and then put two and two together and saw the connection. Hopefully, they switched to water. I'm not going to say all or even most may have done that. That's just my educated guess. But understand something. Beer, as well as other alcohols, pickled foods, fermented foods, tend to cause cramps and bloating and excess gas. Why? Because of the overgrowth of yeast. And too much yeast in a person's intestines contributes to excess gas. So whether it's a short time after consuming it or even the next day, when you have a meeting or a flight to catch or somewhere where you're going to be in close quarters, think about the beer you recently had. Now, there are different types of meats that can contribute to that too. And this, with individuals I've spoken to, this has shocked so many people, because understand something. Protein tends to sit in your stomach for an extended period of time. And as a result of that, sugar and bacteria tends to build up, which then leads to bloating sensation and gassiness. If you're having a problem with red meat, in this instance, chew it thoroughly. Don't just gulp it down, whisk it down, and then consume it in smaller portions. Okay, you don't need to eat an entire ribeye at one time or what have you. Now, another, I'm sure, outside of beer you can put together would be soda. Now, I speak against soda so much. Carbonated drinks in and of itself goes to the intestines and just blows them up, makes you feel like this balloon. But guess who the criminal is here? It's the acid and the fructose that's in these drinks. You know what? I say over and over, just leave soda alone. Room temperature water and you're good. You ever drink water and you don't feel bloated or gassy? That should tell you something. That should tell you a whole lot. There's so many benefits to seeing an acupuncturist. I mean, isn't it awesome? Many individuals have messaged Acupuncture's My Life stating that they were unaware that there was more to acupuncture than just being needled. Yes, of course. Along with seeing your physician on an annual basis, make regular wellness visits with an acupuncturist, because your life will change for the better. I guarantee that. You know what else? Wheat. Some are aware of this because gluten-sensitive individuals are aware that wheat can wreak havoc on the gut. And it can leave you with like this bloated sensation or this feeling of gashiness after eating certain foods that have been made with wheat. So be very careful, because if you're sensitive to gluten, and I'm going to leave you with food for thought when it comes to wheat and gluten, see an acupuncturist. It can have a lot to do with the strength of your immune system. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that as far as gluten is concerned. Oat bran, very healthy. Very healthy for you. But then now, how is your intestines reacting to it? It's a great source of fiber. And I don't recommend you give it up. If it's affecting you that way and it's making you gassy, just cut down on the amount that you consume. That's all. Don't eradicate it from your diet, because oats are good for you. And, feeling gassy, there are acupuncture points, especially on the stomach meridian, that's great for treating this problem as far as gas. Especially stomach 43 and stomach 44. Many acupuncturists are aware of that. Even in some cases, stomach 42. But you see, again, sit with an acupuncturist. Abdominal acupuncture is great for it. Can change the way your digestive system responds to certain foods. Because we totally understand that health is wealth. We understand that the wealth is not in an app on your phone or in the stock market or in the bank or in the safe. We also understand that the wealth is not in your pocket or your purse or under the mattress or in the shoebox in the closet or even under the doghouse in the backyard. We understand that. We understand that the wealth is in you, and that's why you listen to these podcasts, because you're becoming more and more aware of that, as well as you're understanding the importance of regular visits to an acupuncturist. But you know what else is going to surprise many? And I tout this type of food so much, are nuts. High in protein, healthy fats, and fiber. But it can cause gas. Why? Because it's not easy to digest nuts. And for some individuals, especially cashews. Now, I love cashews. And I'm an acupuncturist, and I do acupuncture on myself. So when I have issues with food, I know how to deal with it. But now, you're not me, so I'm talking to you. And if you love nuts and they create a gassy sensation, see an acupuncturist. Acupuncture, especially abdominal acupuncture, can change your life like you wouldn't believe. So awesome. But nuts, forget about it. I mean, it could be a culprit. And many individuals will eat these and not have a clue. Whether they're in a board meeting or at their desk or whatever, and have no clue that how much eating nuts correlates with them farting a lot. None. But yes, it is the case. It can be. But if you were seeing an acupuncturist on a regular basis, that would be brought to light and things would change. Could change. I'll say could because, again, I don't like speaking in absolute terms. It's not good. But many are aware beans. Now, beans, rich in protein, fiber, antioxidants. And I mean, beans are so healthy for you, but they give you gas. Why? Because it has a certain type of sugar that's not found, or that the body doesn't have enzymes for to serve as a catalyst to really absorb or digest. And it's the way it should be. So when it's sitting in your large intestine, the bacteria that exists in your large intestine begins to ferment the sugars that are in beans, therefore producing gas. And then there you go, you're farting all over the place. But beans are healthy for you. You want to get past that? I'll start with, once you consume them, chew them well. I mean, really, chew them well. But see an acupuncturist. Consider even eating smaller beans such as lentils. And if you eat dairy, take it out of your diet. Take the dairy out of your diet. You know what else that surprises many, even though I tout them so much, is fruits, variations of fruits. Okay, fruit can cause you to become gassy, especially when you eat them at the end of your meals. Because when you eat it at the end of your meals, the fruits are going to sit on top of whatever you've eaten, whatever is sitting inside of your stomach. Especially if you've eaten, let's say, steak or some type of protein that's slow to digest. Now the fermentation process begins, and there you have bloating and gas. So if you're suffering from this issue and you don't have time to get to an acupuncturist right away, eat more fruits in lines with limes, lemons, grapefruits, pomegranates, watermelon, avocados, tomatoes. Why? Because they have low sugar and they're rich with minerals. You see, it gets a little deeper once you undergo Eastern nutrition consultations with an acupuncturist. It gets really deep. And there's so much you'll learn about how these foods affect qi and blood. How does it affect the balance of yin and yang within the internal organs? Make acupuncture a part of your life, okay? Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?